Are you wondering what to watch this spooky season to give you those cozy feels, those autumnal vibes, and some genuinely terrifying jump scares that will scar you for life? I'm here to help. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sinead and this is my spooky corner of YouTube where I talk about the spooky books that I've read, the spooky films that I've watched, and the spooky things that I get up to, I go to visit, and sometimes bring into my house, much to the worry of my neighbours. If you're wondering about the pictures behind me, yes, this video is being overseen by Black Phillip, a big skull, the ghost from Oh Whistle and I'll Come to You, oh, and a devil giving a man in bed a big glass of wine. Thoughtful. This October, I'm bringing you a series of videos all dedicated to spooky season, the greatest time of the year. You may have been a spooky person all of your life, you may only just be embracing all things horror, or just dipping your toe into the creepy side of life. And October and the run-up to Halloween is the perfect time to do that. If you are completely on board this spooky train, please do subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit the bell to be notified when my next videos are coming out, and leave a comment below at any point during this video if you've got suggestions of things you'd like to watch, read, or things that you will be doing for Halloween. Today I am bringing you a big old watch list of great films and TV shows that I think are perfect for this time of year. We're going to range from cozy, cutesy, family-friendly, nothing too scary, then some sort of middle ground where the vibes and the mood is immaculate in each of these, and then we're going to end with some, pretty scary stuff. There's going to be nothing that's over the top or too extreme, but all of these have the common thread that I think they work particularly well for this time of year, whether it's just because of their autumnal setting, whether they're full-on Halloween movies, or whether they've just got the right mood, they're at the right vibe. So some of these are not going to be the finest works in cinema, but they are going to make you smile, or they're going to give you a warm feeling, or they're going to give you the right amount of terror. And it's probably easier to find some people who will watch this stuff with you because they're getting into the Halloween mood. People can be very fair-weathered horror fans. You know, they abandon you after October and they go, no, it's just Christmas. Christmas is a wonderful time for horror as well, but that's a video for another day. This list is based on my preferences as someone who watches horror films all year round, and I'm bringing you a small selection because I can't possibly cram every single horror film and TV show into this selection, and there's always room for more. I will be using stills rather than footage of any of the films or TV shows that I mention, and I'm going to put the details of each of them in the description of this video. That will include details of where I believe that you can stream it, and of course I'm checking this from the UK, so it may have different accessibility, or you may be able to find it on different channels that I cannot see from where I am in the world. And there are chapters in the description if you want to jump to a particular section. I've got nearly 30 recommendations in here, but don't worry, we'll get through them at a pace. And also, I'd love to know your spooky season essential watches. What are the films, the TV shows, specials, anything that you like to enjoy at this time of year, or that you are saving up for Halloween week, Halloween night? We're starting with cozy films and TV shows. This is for people who don't want big scares, who want the atmosphere, who want the vibes. They want to feel warm and snuggly like a big mug of hot chocolate. That's what you should enjoy while watching these films, with some cookies on the side, or maybe a small charcuterie board. I know that's not very spooky, but you know, you just arrange it to look like a skeleton shed its skin. That's fun for the kids. The film that personifies cozy, creepy Halloween vibes is Hocus Pocus. I will not go a year without watching Hocus Pocus. Absolutely love it. I remember when Hocus Pocus came out, and at the time it didn't get great reviews because it was a Halloween film, and I don't know what the critics were expecting. I understand that you've got to do a job and sort of go, well, critically, is it the greatest story and its construction, everything? You look back at that and go, why? Why were you even trying? It's all about the feel and the fun. You have Bette Midler being the legend that she is. You have the Black Flame Candle. You have the Sanderson Sisters Museum. You have these three witches who are called from the beyond back to the modern day, and they are determined to find their spell book and to capture all the children so they can suck their essence out and remain young. The sets, the costumes, the vibes throughout this film are exquisite. It's funny, it's silly, it doesn't take itself terribly seriously, and it does a good job of conjuring a great Halloween family film with enough humour in it that it doesn't feel too saccharine sweet. Hocus Pocus 2, the long-awaited sequel, not bad. Not bad in my opinion. I think you've got to view that the same as the first one, possibly when it came out. You're there for the jokes and for the look of it and for the feel and for the vibes. It is the Halloween film that you put on while you're putting up your Halloween decorations. That when you need to just find that extra layer to get into the Halloween spirit, Hocus Pocus is going to get you there. People will have their preferences on the different takes on the Haunted Mansion, Disney's famous attraction that has been personified in film a few times. My personal pick, Muppets Haunted Mansion. Yep, absolutely. Anything with a Muppet, I am there for. The Muppets mark the latter half of the year, surely, because you watch Hocus Pocus first and then you watch Muppets Haunted Mansion. And then as soon as the Christmas hits the air, you watch Muppets Christmas Carol. The Muppets are guiding us through the season. Nary cast a clout until the Muppets have come out. Why did I say that? The Muppets Haunted Mansion gives me everything I want in terms of cutesy, atmospheric, spooky, silly, good humour in it, good performances. I absolutely love it. A film I will never get tired of. I do save for Halloween each year, and it does have a Halloween scene right at the end to justify it, but overall, how can you not want to watch The Addams Family at Halloween? Now, I'm talking about the live action version with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston and Christopher Lloyd. I know there's the animated version, and it's now become a stage show as well, which I've actually unfortunately not seen yet, but I've heard good things about. I also loved watching reruns of the Addams Family TV series when I was a kid, so I absolutely loved it. And when the film came out, and Addams Family Value, the brilliant sequel as well, I was so full of joy. But it's not only that they're spooky, spooky people, very weird. The humour in that film, it is almost unmatched. In terms of just its pure joy, the humour in that works so well because it's very well acted. They take it seriously. That's why The Addams Family works, because all the actors in it are sort of playing it straight and delivering the lines as if they really, really mean it, and that makes the humour so much better rather than kind of mugging for the camera. And The Addams Family Values, that's a little bit more summery because there's a summer camp in it. But those two, perfection for this time of year. Staying with films, you could watch the first half of Nightmare Before Christmas. There's a big debate. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween film or a Christmas film? A friend of mine just looked at me and went, both. If you're not in the mood for the Christmassy bits, no matter how darkly they are delivered in this very cute film and very, very wonderfully put together film, just listen to the opening. Just listening to This Is Halloween, This Is Halloween. That's just going around in my head most of October. This one I'm adding because of the presence of a pumpkin. Very, very important. This is cozy, but it's also terrifying. It's Return to Oz. Oh yeah. Anyone who's seen Return to Oz, they're going, Wheelers. I think it's criminally underrated today, but a certain generation know it, love it, and were traumatized by it to a point. It is a good, cozy film, but it does have genuine scary moments in there, and that's why I think it's a great, great film, and particularly for horror fans. Anyone who watches Return to Oz for the first time, the asylum scene, the Wheelers, Mumby's heads. This gets included because of Jack Pumpkinhead. He has a pumpkin for a head. A carved pumpkin for a head. It's a Halloween film. I will not be receiving notes on this. Return to Oz does have good vibes. It has that cozy family feel. It's got pumpkins in it. But it's got enough scares that I think work well for this time of year. So if you happen to have never seen Return to Oz, get it on your list. Take a look at it. Be prepared for some lovely moments and some really, really why did they think this was okay for kids moments too. I'm about to come on to cozy TV series or things that have appeared on TV. I'm going to leave one thing, and I don't want you to throw stuff at the screen. I need to rewatch this, but I watched it last year. Please bear with me, but Hubie Halloween, I watched this on a whim last year, and it's not a bad Halloween film. It's silly, and it's fun, and it's got the right vibes to it, and it's not ridiculous in comparison to some Adam Sandler films that I've seen. And again, no shade whatsoever if anyone loves Adam Sandler and you love those films, because they're indulgent and they're fun and they're escapist. Some of them are just too pratfally for me, for my preferences. Can someone else confirm that? Can someone else get in and confirm it? Or please flood the comments to go, Sinead, you're deluded. Put down the gin. An essential watch for me now, and I came to it late. I watched it for the first time last year, and where had it been all my life? Over the Garden Wall. Over the Garden Wall passed me by. When it first came out, I didn't see anything of it. It wasn't something that was particularly advertised over here in the UK. I don't know if that was it. Maybe it was and I missed it. But I had one of those moments that are so rare the older that you get. is when someone goes, oh my God, have you not seen it? Sit and watch it. And the joy comes through of, oh, I get to watch this for the first time. I get to watch Over the Garden Wall. Beautifully animated, silly, eerie, cozy, atmospheric, fairy tale folklore like story. Two brothers wandering through this bizarre forest, this strange place, trying to get out of the unknown, encountering talking animals, talking birds, creatures, people, warning them of things, of darknesses that are stalking them, stumbling into strange scenarios, finding themselves trapped and being coerced by different people. A lot of what they encounter is spooky, is eerie, but it just has such charm and warmth, and again, gentle humor, and an innocence that is surrounded by darkness. I was able to get the entire series on Amazon Prime. I sat and watched it one day, and I smiled and I laughed and I even cried at one point. Don't know why. I will be singing Potatoes and Molasses for much of my spare time. Essential watches for this time of year. I'm going to be going through every Halloween episode of any TV series that I have enjoyed, and we'll just be watching those. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors will be watched. Last year I watched every single one that is currently in existence, and I stopped watching The Simpsons quite a while ago because I feel it's sort of gone past its prime, and it was a fine time that I had. I found some episodes that I was like, yeah, that one's not too bad. This year I'm just going to watch my favourites, so I'm going to watch from the first one, from the opening one where they do the reading of the Raven, which I love. My favourite one, if I had to pick one, I love them, so many of them, probably Treehouse of Horror 5. That's the one with the shinning in it. The shinning and Nightmare Cafeteria and Homer with the toaster. The shinning is peak. What about Grandpa? I'm fond of the Modern Family Halloween episodes because the family in that series love Halloween. Claire is obsessed with Halloween, so there's always a good Halloween episode. So I will watch all of those. Do let me know any particularly good Halloween episodes from otherwise non-spooky series, but where they've done it quite well. I do have a couple to mention in the scary section of this video. Now we're getting into the section that I like to call spooky vibes. These are good-looking films and TV shows. They have the aesthetic down to a key, and they do have some scares in them. So some of these are not exactly family friendly. There wouldn't be, to my recollection, massive trigger warnings with these ones, but you might want to do your own quick searches. Number one on this list in terms of vibes, Sleepy Hollow. Tim Burton's version of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is spooky, it is scary, it is atmospheric, it is beautiful in just how creepy and dark and autumnal the town of Sleepy Hollow is conjured on screen in this film. You have the Headless Horseman, you have the jack-o'-lanterns around that are tied in with the original story, and you do have some genuinely creepy frights in there too. Everyone in this film looks great. It's actually a good mystery as well as weaving in the original story of Ichabod Crane. And it's obviously twisted and turned in Tim Burton's inimitable style. This is gothic rather than gory. There's a couple of scenes in there. But yes, if you have not seen Sleepy Hollow, this is just perfect. You could have that as a background sort of ambience video with the sound down. You could just have that playing and you'd just be feeling like, oh yeah, I'm in Halloween land. Next, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, based on the book series of the same name. This film version is, yes, creepy. It has got some genuine scares in it. Much like the original books, this is a gateway to horror for younger readers. That was what the original books were intended for. And this film, yes, it's kind of that gateway. It is creepy. It's got horror elements to it. I think some people would find it very frightening, some of the imagery in it. But it's also just light enough that it's not in serious scare territory. And I think you get more out of it from enjoying those books from when you were a child. If you read those books, I read a couple of them, and yeah, it's just going to give you that joyful feeling in the same way that if you read the point horror books when you were a kid and then you see any kind of adaptation of R.L. Stine, you just sort of automatically are taken back to that place. I saw this when it first came out, and I'm going to rewatch it this year to refresh my memory of it. I remember so enjoying it, and I think I was kind of caught up in the nostalgia for a moment of kind of, rather than really assessing, is it a good film? Is it, you know what, I'm just here for the vibes of it. So I think a lot of people will know famous scary stories to tell in the dark, and a great one to put on for this time of year. And to introduce not so young kids too, but older kids. You want to get into horror? You can watch this. What do you think about that? This film is a guilty pleasure for me. Guilty pleasure, I don't know why, because it's Van Helsing. Van Helsing was absolutely panned when it came out. But I bloody love this film. I love the way it looks. I love how over the top it is. I love the campiness. I love the performance. And I love the storyline of it. And it's perfect for Halloween because you've got almost all of the Universal monsters in it. You've got Hugh Jackman playing Van Helsing, who is this kind of gun for hire, but in, the 1800s. At the beginning of the film, hunting down Mr. Hyde, he of Jekyll and Hyde. Yay! And then he ends up having to chase down Dracula, the Wolfman, and Frankenstein's monster. And Kate Beckinsale is there looking fabulous in various outfits and flicking her hair. What is not to like with this film? I don't understand why people go, oh my god, it's a terrible film. Of course it's a terrible film. It looks incredible. And it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's ludicrous and it's over the top and the performances are just chewing scenery all the way through. But that is what I want with a good Gothic-y, horror-ish film. For this time of year, I want the vibes, I want the look and the feel of it, and I want to feel like, ooh, it's an indulgent Halloween treat. Van Helsing is the equivalent of just getting all the Halloween candy and shoving it in your face. And just eating that and eating that, going, I know I'll regret this tomorrow, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm a grown-up, I can do what I like. Because of the presence of all of the big monsters in it and the ludicrously indulgent story they put together, I think it's great Halloween viewing. We're getting into creepier stuff. We have The Craft. Are there any women out there who were teenagers in the 90s, in the 80s, verging in the 2000s, who didn't see this film and weren't defined by it? The Craft was the witchy story I felt like me and my friends had been waiting for years. The alternative girls, the girls who are either kind of seen as the goths or the outsiders, but they have powers and they get together and they form a coven. One of them is very powerful, but then the coven goes wrong and it's all about dealing with high school, dealing with all of your grievances, and if you have these powers, it can get very, very dark. And I love how goth it is, how dark it gets, how over the top, again, extravagant, over the top fun, and it looks great. And really, if you were a certain age, you just wanted to be those girls. When you're looking for that nostalgia of being a kid, being a young person and loving Halloween, that teenage part of you who loved being spooky and a bit gothy and a bit alternative. Yep, The Craft. Now, this is a film that's gotten a few knocks over the years because of its director, but I think that the look of this film is fantastic. It's very good for this time of year, and I don't mind the story at all. It's The Village. It got caught up in a lot of hate that the director, M. Night Shyamalan, got over the years because he was such a revered and beloved director, and beloved because of The Sixth Sense. Unbreakable, when it came out, Signs has one of the scariest jump scares moments in there, the alien bit. But then his later films, many people just felt went off a cliff. And, it's arguable that did they dip in quality? Was he completely reliant on big twists and big reveals? It's a debate we shan't get into here. I was a fan of his earlier films and I did really like The Village. The Village is set in this community surrounded by forest, 1600s, late 1600s. And it is a very simple, pleasant community. They're all reliant on each other, but they are bound by a series of rules that keep them in the village because of things they call those we don't speak of that stalk the land in the forest around them. I won't say any more in the film, and please no one put spoilers in the comments. Don't do that because it is a film with twists and turns and there are reveals in there, and I found it very enjoyable. I liked it at the time, and I also love the way it looks. It gives you that sort of that feeling of that New England kind of, if you're trying to channel Salem, if you're trying to channel Sleepy Hollow, that sort of oldie worldy place that is stalked by something otherworldly, something supernatural is happening. It's got a really good vibe and feel and look to it. So I am an advocate for giving The Village a second go if you were not a fan of it. And if you are a fan of it, watch it again. Watch it again and make your friends watch it. I liked it. This was a last second addition only because I suddenly saw this film pop up and I went, you know what? For an underrated thriller, What Lies Beneath? What Lies Beneath has a really nice autumnal feel to it, so it's got that vibe. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, she is married to Harrison Ford. Her daughter, his stepdaughter, has just gone off to college, and she's kind of got this empty nest feeling. She notices the neighbours, though, seem to be fighting, and she's worried that something may have happened to the wife, and at the same time she starts to feel that there is a presence in the house trying to communicate with her. She seems to be haunted. This is a really good supernatural thriller with great fall vibes to it. I think it was very well written, very well constructed, and the way it plays out and the way the story unravels, very satisfying. And yes, you've got that spooky element to it. Vibe heavy TV series. These have got some scares in them, but they look beautiful. I will never stop going on about the TV series Penny Dreadful. So it had 3 series of it. There was the version Penny Dreadful City of Angels that sort of moved timelines and went into LA, I believe, and I didn't really see much of that. I wasn't really a fan. I sort of watched a couple of episodes. The original Penny Dreadful is set in the Victorian era. It is atmospheric, it has hauntings, it has vampires, it has werewolves, it has witches, it has seances, it has the dark vibes of a Victorian parlour as mediums gather and try and summon the dead, and the devil whispers in the ear of beautiful women, and men wrestle with their internal demons and try and battle with nature and science. This series has everything. If that is enough to pique your interest, go watch that series. Find it, access it, put it into your lives. If you are at all into your Gothic, if you love things like Bram Stoker's Dracula, if you love Crimson Peak, if you love those Gothic vibes and those twisting stories, watch Penny Dreadful. I was also a really big fan of the reboot of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. Now, of course, you can watch the original Sabrina if you want laughter and coziness and happiness. That should have gone in the cozy section. Sorry about that. Original Sabrina, Teenage Witch, which I watched when I was younger. Salem, the wee cat. The reboot is much darker. It is fun. It is vibe heavy. Salem takes a back seat in this series, is all I'll say. Salem doesn't chat and isn't a wisecracking cat in this one, which I think is a letdown, as an oversight on their part. But this is much more about Sabrina being a witch, needing to make a pact with the devil, trying to exist in a world where there are other supernatural forces around them. I really enjoyed the look of it, and I so enjoyed the first couple of series of it. I need to continue with it. It's one of those that I stopped watching, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but I have a tendency to sometimes go, yay, binge, oh, something over there, shiny, and then forgot to go back to it. Let me know if you were a fan of the new Sabrina, or if it went downhill and I wasn't aware of it. And a series that I didn't watch, and some of you may be screaming at me, but I feel this year is the time for me to find it and devour it. It's Salem. Salem, a series set in Salem at the time of the witch trials, but this turns things on its head. You have the witches maybe working behind the scenes, and with various different people. I hear nothing but good things about the vibes and the looks of this series, that it is absolutely watchable, that it is good fun. Please weigh in if I shouldn't waste my time with it. I think we're doing quite well here, and this is your friendly reminder to please like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell to get notified of more videos in the future, and leave a comment if there's anything else that you want to see from me for spooky season. Thank you to the people who regularly watch my videos, who are already subscribed, who send me kind comments and give me suggestions. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate anyone new who has stumbled on this video and is enjoying it. So stick around, because there's always room for more spooky stuff and crows. Now we're coming on to the scary watches for Halloween. The films and the TV shows that I have picked out that I think are perfect for this time of year. Of course, I could have done a list of the scariest horror films that I've ever watched. In fact, I've actually done videos on that in the past. But this isn't about me just trying to scare the hell out of you and just to put in any old film that will terrify you, because I have so many recommendations for those, but I'm trying to boil it down to the scary films that I think work for October, for Halloween, for this kind of seasonal vibe. Starting with one that is certainly scary and gory, but also bridges the gap because it's funny. It's The Cabin in the Woods. This is one of my favourite comedy horrors of all time, because it is just genius the way it was constructed. Cabin in the Woods takes the classic story of the 5 teenagers who go on a road trip and they get a cabin in the woods, and then bad stuff starts going down. Maybe they shouldn't have gone on that trip or wandered into that area where the man at the gas station told them not to go to. Takes that story and twists it in a very inventive way. And I don't really want to give any more away about the film if you haven't seen it, because I went into it blind. I went into this film blind. Again, it was one of those occasions where a friend said, blah, 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 have you seen this film, seen this film? And I went, no, I've never seen Cabin in the Woods. And he was like, you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods. We're watching it now. Watched it, fell in love with it. I watch this film regularly. It's one of my comfort watches. I have already watched it in October. I started off the month with, yep, Cabin in the Woods. This is how I'm starting October. It gives me everything I could possibly want in a good slasher film that plays with the tropes, that plays with the idea of it with enough humor, and it's got so many horror elements to it. It is perfect for celebrating horror at Halloween time. Those who know and love Cabin in the Woods, you know what I mean. I'm so excited for all of you to watch it for the first time if you haven't seen it. Now, as we've taken that bridge and we ease our way in, you know that you have to watch Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. The original film must be watched at Halloween time. Michael Myers, I think, is one of the greatest villains in horror cinema and in all of cinema, really. I think you can still watch Halloween now, the original, if you've never watched it, and enjoy it for what it is and see how it influenced a sea of horror films afterwards. Of course, it spawned so many sequels, so many reboots, so many remakes, so many versions of that original film were taken as people tried to play with the myth of Michael Myers, tried to explain who Michael Myers was. And I didn't really like films that did that. I think Michael Myers works because he's inexplicable. He is just this entity, this thing that wants to destroy and to kill. That's what makes the monster so frightening in it. There were some campy versions that I enjoyed. I will say I particularly enjoyed Halloween H2O, 20 years later. But I also really like the 2018 Halloween, where we have it 40 years later, where we go and we see the effect of the original Halloween night on Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, what it has done to her, what it has done to her children, to generations, and then the re-emergence of Michael. I love the way that film opens as well, again, playing with the lore of Michael Myers and his presence. We don't talk about Halloween Ends. A good time to pay homage to what was one of the seminal horror slasher films of all time, and to maybe dip into any of the other Halloween films along that long line that you particularly enjoy, that you're like, that's fine, that's my pleasure. Along with Cabin in the Woods, along with Halloween, an essential watch for me every October, the closer to Halloween night the better, will be Ghost Watch, the BBC special that came out in 1992. I've talked about this on one of my other videos about the scary stuff we watched as kids and the nostalgia of this. Now, if you've never heard of Ghost Watch, and a lot of people probably have by now because it's gotten this kind of resurgence as more people have claimed it, and because of some links to other TV specials, which I'm going to come on to in a minute. But Ghost Watch essentially was a fake documentary that was aired on the BBC. It had Michael Parkinson presenting it, and it was supposed to be this ghost watching experiment. You had a studio where Michael Parkinson was talking to an expert, you had people on the phone ringing in with their own stories, and then you had this house where they were filming this family with two daughters who said that they'd been experiencing a ghostly haunting around there, and then you had reporters on the street. And when this was put out, no one said it was fake. No one revealed that it wasn't real. And I was at home alone, parents at work, for some reason I was sitting there, and it was Halloween night. And I watched this and I was so frightened by it. I was so unsettled by it. I turned it off before the end, and I never realised that it was fake. Until I think 2 days later when I went back to school and they was like, oh no, it wasn't real. When you watch it now, you can see the strings, as it were. You can see that it's slightly cheesy. You can see that people are kind of acting. But even so, it's not that badly acted, and the atmosphere they created and the way they structured it, it still feels frightening. I'm sure I have nostalgia associated with it of being so scared when I watched it on TV at home for the first time. And if you watched it now, a lot of people will be going, what? This is just silly. But it is a moment in time, and it does have great campy vibes to it. You can enjoy it for the camp factor in there. It's inspired by the Enfield haunting. They have these two girls and they are drawing on the fact that, they're maybe being haunted by this spirit. Pipes. There's legend, there's lore, there's all sorts of references in it. Honestly, Ghost Watch is a great one to watch. in the run-up to Halloween, and it leads on to two other choices I'm going to share with you. Ghost Watch inspired a TV show and a film, and the TV show was an episode of Inside Number 9. A few years ago, Inside Number 9 did a live Halloween episode, and this was broadcast live, and it was very much inspired by Ghost Watch. If you're familiar with Inside Number 9, you know it is an anthology series. It's often spooky, it's often creepy, it's dealing with the uncanny. And in this live Halloween episode, they were showing their episode, and there seems to be glitches. There seem to be glitches with the sound, with the actors, and you hear the voiceover announcement go, okay, it's gone wrong. It's gone wrong, sorry, the live show's not happening. And you're like, oh, okay, is this real? Is this real? And then strange things start to come through on the screen. Start to come through, you see the actors in the backstage, you see them on security camera, you see things all around. And as I said, half of that was done live. Like, Reece Shearsmith did a tweet live to his Twitter and people responded, and they created this homage, as it were, to Ghost Watch, taking the inspiration but an entirely new story, and it is so creepy, unsettling, so well done. I love it. I watch Ghost Watch, and then I watch that episode of Inside Number 9. Of course, you can watch the reruns of it. Absolutely perfect for genuinely unsettling, chilling, yeah, what's that moving out of the corner of your eye vibes. Oh, yeah. I'm getting in the mood for Halloween now. I'm like, oh, okay, Halloween watching. These are all things I either save for Halloween night or on the run up to it. Now, the film that people feel may have been influenced by Ghost Watch, influenced by different things, certainly, is Late Night with the Devil. Oh, when this film came out and I watched it, it was pure joy of seeing it. It is so my sort of horror film. So it is set in the 1970s. You have this late night talk show that would have been broadcast live. And at the start of the film, you understand that it was an incredibly popular show, but it is massively declined in ratings. It is suffering. Everyone behind the scenes is desperate to try and get it going again. And the host has been fighting tooth and nail to get it back on the air and get it back up the ratings. And his pitch is that on Halloween night, on their live show, they are going to bring out this young girl who claims to be possessed. And they're going to prove that demonic possession is real, that hauntings are real. They're going to have experts on. They're going to have different people challenging it. And this is played out in front of an audience, and so it's shot in this way. I'm so immersed in this story right now. I'm just kind of, oh my God, I love it. So it's sort of filmed in that kind of sepia, like kind of that 70s style, and then you do see clips where you've got the cast and the crew going backstage and chatting in between shots, in between of these live shots. And things do go wrong, and there's hints of stuff in the background. You overhear stuff. It's very well constructed. It leans into certain myths and legends is the wrong word really, lore and conspiracy theories, but also has some very frightening moments in it. Some really good jump scares, some sort of false jump scares, and back and forth. Really, really well done. I love Late Night with the Devil, and it's all Halloween night, so it's all focused on that. If you've not watched it, check it out. Be prepared to be frightened and shocked. Love it. I'm going to throw a little known one in here, but it is a very good one all around this time of year. It's the film version of Dark Harvest. Now, Dark Harvest is a book that I've mentioned on my spooky season TBR list and your reading guide. And this is a really curious story, and the film adaptation I watched wasn't holding out much hope for it, but was impressed by how well they did it, because it is such a creepy story. In this town, every year at Halloween, the boys in the town have to perform this ritual of running and chasing down this figure, this terrifying figure, and sort of catching it and getting candy, and everyone sort of cheers them on. It's this sort of rite of passage, but there's something very dark going on underneath this ritual. There's various things that are going on in the town, and it's such a weird, unsettling setup where you're like, is this real? Is this really happening? And then it does go to very dark places and has this mad conclusion that is very twisted. It's not the greatest horror film that I've seen, but I think really they had great subject material and they didn't do a bad job of translating up to the screen. A lesser known one, I would argue, but definitely give it a try. It's creepy. A Halloween horror film that I watched fairly recently for the first time. It's Trick or Treat, the 2007 version. Trick or Treat is technically a collection of 3 or 4 stories intertwined in this film, all taking place on Halloween night in this town where there is a huge Halloween parade going on. you've got these stories and they aren't told in a linear fashion, but they all do link up in the end, and they link in with each other. I was so impressed when I watched this film, again, for the first time, way later than so many people. I don't know why it passed me by when it first came out and in the intervening years. It absolutely works for having a good, twisting horror story. Each of the stories twist just enough to give you that satisfaction of you've not just been watching something that is completely building up to having a big jump scare and then a final twist. There's enough storytelling throughout it. There's enough nuance, very good performances, some of it very funny and some of it very dark and bloody. And the way everything interlinks together, I loved it. I so enjoyed it. It is an essential watch, I'd say now for me, every Halloween. Stick on Trick or Treat. And the film I've chosen to really frighten you with this time of year, it's going to be Hell House, LLC. Now, this isn't technically a Halloween film, but it is all based around a scare attraction. And what do we do around Halloween? We go to a lot of scare attractions. We go to a lot of scare mazes. We go to these sorts of things. Hell House is a mockumentary following these people setting up their scare attraction in this house that is said to be haunted, that's said to have a terrible curse upon it. And the story really is as simple as that. It is people filming things as they go around the house, as they're setting everything up, what went wrong on the opening night. This is the big lore. Something went really badly wrong and you're looking back at the footage and trying to discover what happened. What do you see in the camera? What do you see out of the corner of your eye? It's a simple premise executed very well. And I genuinely found it very frightening. Plenty of nasty jump scares, plenty of figures and clownish creatures like, oh, get that away from me. If you really want to be frightened and you're thinking of going to Halloween attractions, maybe watch that first. With so many fantastic horror films out there, I could give a new list every single year and still not get through my list of my favourite horror films or great horror films for this sort of time of year. But I obviously suggest that you rewatch a favourite scary movie of yours, one that really genuinely made you frightened, made you jump, but didn't disturb you to the point where you never want to watch it again. But I'm going to rewatch mainly so I can show it to my husband for the first time, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. One of my top underrated horror films. This film about a mortician, father and son duo who are examining a Jane Doe who has been brought in. She has mysterious markings on her. She has mysterious signs. She's an odd figure. And as they examine her, strange things start happening around the mortuary. Again, a simple premise, a setup, and it does go to an interesting sort of place in the end, but so frightening, so atmospheric. I must warn, and I didn't mention it one time before when I was talking about this film, there is a pet death in this. It is quick, it's not pleasant. That aside, this film is very, very frightening, and I think so few people have seen it given how good a horror it is, and genuinely jump scares, but heart in your throat at points. It's not reliant on just, oh, there's the jump scare. It's just atmosphere and tension. I love it. I think it is well worth watching if you genuinely want to be terrified. Autopsy of Jane Doe. I will also be rewatching The Witch because it's been a while since I've seen it, for incredible scenery, incredible atmosphere, the incredible presence of Black Phillip, who sits on my shelf over there in various forms and immortalized. If you want a beautiful, bleak, very realistic setting for a film, Robert Eggers is your man. It is the witchiest time of year, and I'm going to watch a film that is 100% witches are not to be messed with. And nor is the devil. There you have it. That is my 2025 spooky season watch list for you. If there are more suggestions you'd like from me before Halloween hits, then just let me know again. If those are films, or if there are books, or if you just want to gab about the really, really creepy stuff that happens. I've created a playlist for spooky season of my existing videos that this one will be sitting in as well. This contains some suggestions of books that you can be reading, the books that I'm reading, and also things to watch, and there will be some crafting, some excursions, some just generally lovely things to do at the creepiest time of year. I'm also planning to do an extra video about spooky season and Halloween itself, the traditions of Halloween that I remember from my youth, but really the history of it as a pagan festival and what it has become now and how it is celebrated around the world, and maybe share a few stories along the way. Do check out my other videos if you need ever horror book suggestions, spooky suggestions of witchy books, of haunted house books, of ghostly books. If you want to know about horror films that changed my DNA, or you want to dive into Gothic fiction and film, or some folk horror, those all exist on my channel. Thank you for watching. Look after your ghosts and stay spooky. Bye-bye.